Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a wonderful day filled with good vibes. Today, we're diving into a heartwarming yet emotional moment on the farm, where a joyful meal of fresh pickled figs suddenly turns into deep worry when Yuri reveals their biggest fear about their mother's hidden health struggles and makes a mysterious call to Uncle Tuan. What secret is about to come out? Stick around till the end. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next. The kitchen atmosphere in Aunt Ngia's cozy farmhouse was buzzing with life as Tu Tiu and Aunt Ngia worked side by side, turning those fresh figs into something truly special. Picture this: late afternoon sunlight pouring through the windows, golden and warm, catching little wisps of steam rising from the big mixing bowls while the rhythmic chop-chop of the knife slicing those figs into thin pieces filled the air like a gentle heartbeat of the countryside. Tutiu's hands moved with practiced ease, tossing in handfuls of salt, a generous scoop of sugar, those fiery dried chilies, finely minced garlic that packed a punch, and a splash of fresh lemon juice that cut through everything with bright acidity, letting all those flavors soak deep into every single slice. The whole place smelled incredible, that sweet, tangy, spicy aroma wrapping around you like a warm hug, making both of them feel that sudden hunger kick in right away. They sat down together at the old wooden table, laughter bubbling up between bites as compliments flew back and forth. Tutio took a moment to scoop some extra portions into a small dish for the yellow cat, who was happily rubbing against their legs, purring like a little engine, while Aunt Ngia closed her eyes, savoring each crunchy, juicy bite. In that simple, everyday moment, there was this pure, uncomplicated happiness that just washed away all the tiredness from the long day of harvesting and prepping. Tutio felt it deep down, that beautiful connection between people and nature when you create something with your own hands from the earth. A quiet little celebration of life's smallest pleasures that makes the heart feel full without needing anything fancy. But right in the middle of that cozy meal, everything shifted when Yuri suddenly went quiet, their face showing clear worry that cut through the joy like a shadow. The hectic demands of construction site work left Yuri with barely any time to come back to the farm, always carrying this deep wish to take their mother for a proper health checkup. Yet she kept refusing no matter how many times they gently pushed. Uri turned to Aunt Ngia with a voice full of helplessness mixed with such profound care, asking her to help pass on the message and deciding right then to reach out to Uncle Tuan for support. You could see the heavy burden of being a responsible child weighing right on Yuri's shoulders, tangled up with this intense longing to make sure their mother was truly okay. Aunt Ngia listened in silence, her usual warm smile fading as the whole atmosphere in the kitchen grew more somber. The laughter from moments before, now replaced by a thoughtful quiet. Uri held on to that hope that Uncle Tuan might be the one to finally persuade her, but inside, all these conflicting emotions were swirling around like a silent storm. Love, frustration, helplessness, and worry all crashing together without making a sound. As the sun dipped lower outside, casting long shadows across the table, still scattered with plates of that delicious fig salad, Yuri pulled out their phone with slightly trembling hands, dialing the number while the weight of unspoken fears pressed down harder. The call connected, and in the growing twilight of the farm, you could almost feel the pressure building on Yuri's chest, that quiet desperation for answers about their mother's health hanging in the air like the last light of day fading away, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next in this emotional journey. Hey everyone, welcome back to another heartfelt episode where we dive deep into the simple beauties of farm life, mixed with those real human struggles that touch us all. Today, we're continuing right from that warm kitchen scene, watching how a joyful meal can turn into something much more layered and emotional in just a few moments. Tutiu and Aunt Nia had just finished preparing that incredible pickled fig dish and the fresh fig salad, blending salt, sugar, dried chili for that kick, minced garlic for depth, and lemon juice to brighten it all up so perfectly. The fragrant smells had everyone's stomachs growling, and sharing those bites together brought genuine laughter and compliments that made the hard work feel so worth it. Tutio even took time to feed the friendly yellow cat who couldn't get enough attention, while Aunt Nia enjoyed every flavor explosion. It was one of those pure, uncomplicated happy moments where the connection to nature through homemade food just fills your soul with gentle satisfaction. Yet as they ate, Yuri's expression changed, the worry becoming impossible to hide. With such a busy construction schedule, leaving little room for family time, Yuri had been carrying this constant desire to get their mother to the hospital for a checkup, but she kept turning it down. In a voice shaking with emotion, Yuri asked Aunt Nia to relay the plea and made up their mind to call Uncle Tuan, hoping he could step in and convince her. The responsibility sat heavy like an invisible weight, blended with deep love and longing that made the moment feel so raw and real. Aunt Nia stayed quiet and supportive as the mood shifted from light and warm to more serious and reflective. Inside Yuri, it was a storm of love, clashing with frustration and helplessness, all kept beneath the surface while they picked up the phone. The call to Uncle Tuan went through just as the farm grew darker, that single "allo" echoing softly and leaving this powerful sense of anticipation. What secret or advice would Uncle Tuan bring? How would this affect the family bonds at the farm? Stick around, because the story is only getting more emotional from here, and these quiet moments of worry in everyday life are what make us reflect on our own relationships. If you're enjoying this blend of farm vibes and heartfelt drama, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. We'll see you in part 2, where the conversation with Uncle Tuan unfolds and the real tensions start to surface. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember to cherish the simple meals with loved ones while you can. The farm kitchen lights were dimming as evening settled in, but the emotional weight in the air felt even heavier than the delicious scent of those pickled figs and fresh salad still lingering on the table. Yuri sat there with that visible worry etched across their face, the kind that creeps up slowly during what should be a relaxing meal, but instead reminds you of bigger responsibilities waiting just outside the cozy bubble. Construction work had been non-stop lately. Long hours on site, leaving Yuri with barely enough energy to make the trip back to the farm regularly. And every time the topic of mother's health came up, it hit like a quiet storm inside. Yuri had been wishing so badly to take her for a proper hospital checkup, to make sure everything was okay after all the past troubles, but she kept gently refusing, no matter how many times they tried to persuade her with love and concern. In that moment, with the plates of fig salad still half full, and the yellow cat now curled up contentedly nearby, Uri turned to Aunt Nia with a voice that cracked just a little, asking her to help pass on the message if she could, because the worry was becoming too much to carry alone. Then, without hesitation, Uri decided to reach out to Uncle Tuan directly, hoping his words might finally convince Mother to get the care she needed. You could see the heavy burden of being a dutiful child pressing down hard on Yuri's shoulders, that mix of deep love, frustration from the repeated refusals, and a helpless ache that comes when you want the best for someone, but they're not ready to accept it yet. Aunt Ngia listened quietly, her kind eyes reflecting understanding without needing many words, as the once lively and warm atmosphere in the kitchen shifted into something more somber. The laughter from earlier now replaced by thoughtful silence, broken only by the distant sounds of the farm winding down for the night. Inside Yuri, all those conflicting emotions swirled like a silent storm. The profound care for Mother clashing with the exhaustion of a busy life, the longing to fix things right away, and that quiet fear of what might happen if things were left unchecked. As the call connected and the soft "allo" from Uncle Tuan came through the phone, the screen of the device glowed faintly in the growing twilight, casting long shadows across the wooden table still scattered with remnants of the homemade meal. That single word hanging in the air carried so much unspoken anticipation, the pressure on Yuri's chest building visibly as they stepped away from the table, voice low but filled with urgency. Viewers, this is one of those real-life moments that hits close to home for so many of us, when family health concerns creep into even the happiest days on the farm, turning simple joys like sharing fig dishes into deeper reflections on love, duty, and patience. Tutio had poured so much heart into preparing everything from the forest-harvested figs, mixing the salt, sugar, dried chili for that perfect kick, minced garlic for aroma, and lemon juice to balance the flavors beautifully, creating not just food, but memories. Yet here was Uri, caught between gratitude for these peaceful moments and the heavy worry that wouldn't let go. What advice would Uncle Tuan offer? Would he be able to help bridge the gap and get Mother the checkup she needed? The cliffhanger leaves us all wondering how this family's story will unfold next, because these quiet struggles in everyday rural life are what make the connections feel so authentic and touching. If this episode is resonating with you, drop a comment below sharing your own experiences with worrying about parents' health while juggling a busy life. We read every single one. Hit like if you appreciate these heartfelt farm stories blended with real emotion. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss when the next part drops, where the conversation with Uncle Tuan reveals even more layers. Thank you for spending this time with us on the farm, cherishing these simple meals while facing life's tougher questions. Until next time, take care of your loved ones, savor the little pleasures like a fresh fig salad made with care, and remember that sometimes the hardest things are said in the softest voices. We'll continue this emotional journey very soon. Stay tuned.